Yeah, man. Texas Tech students are unreal, man. Wow, that environment when we walk in. I mean, it being an early tip with 6 p.m. I just thought the energy was in the building when it started, and that's a really physical TCU team. Coach Dixon's done a really good job and always does of getting his teams to go out and rebound and defend and scrap. And I thought they were physical early, and we didn't match that physicality. But as the game went on, man, I loved our team's defensive fight and aggressiveness, and we just finally got it going offensively. I didn't do a great job of keeping us moving. We stalled out a little bit, but, we missed Darian Williams, and took us a little bit to kind of get a rhythm and a flow. And, man, Kerwin Walton was awesome. So awesome to see a guy like that who – he just continues to work, even though he hasn't played. His character's unbelievable. He graduated at the semester and got his Texas Tech degree, and he's just awesome, man. He just has been consistent, and he came in and I thought gave us a great lift also. So good team win from a competitive defensive standpoint, and I got to do a better job keeping us moving offensively.
I believe 4 out of your last 5 conference games, you've held your opponent to 57 points or less. That's a pretty dramatic defensive improvement that we've seen recently. What do you attribute that to?
Well, one, today I thought it was scouting report early, and our guys are really showing a lot of attention to that. And, Matt Breyer, one of the assistant coaches, Achoki Moikobu, we call him AC, Luke Barnwell. Those 3 guys are, I'm telling you, they're elite, man. They're young, but they all have what it takes to be a head coach at the highest level. And if you came to film sessions and you came to practices and you heard those guys articulate and coach and prepare what we need to do, they're so good. I mean, Luke Barnwell won a national championship at Sunrise at the prep level. Choki was one of the youngest coaches in the country, and I watched his practices myself, and that's why I wanted to hire him, because I watched his practices. And Matt Breyer may have the best feel of anybody I've worked with. I'm telling you, those guys are so good. And so when you're great at this level, you have a great staff, and we've got an unbelievable staff. Obviously, Jeff Linder's been one of the best coaches at every school he's been at by most statistical categories, and Chris Nottingham, who's a young guy who gets it offensively. He's got awesome feel, and he's really helped Elijah Hawkins get better. And it's just fun to have a staff that you love being around. And I can tell you this, we would not be as good defensively if it wasn't for the hard work of those guys, and that's the reason why we've made the biggest jump. And our guys believe in it, right? I mean, you can't be around people and have them tell you to do something, and you look at them like they're crazy. I mean, those guys know we're crazy, but we're crazy in the right way, and it's awesome to see our team improve. And, man, it's the belief that we have as a group, and our staff's unbelievable.
What was going on with boxing out on missed free throws tonight?
Well, the one we caught JT kind of standing there, but that's what happens when you go smaller. And not having Darian Williams in the game, we don't give many of those up. And I do think JT was a little bit fatigued. I mean, we played through him in the post, and I don't know if you ever played in the post, but if you play in the post, it's like wrestling. I mean, you get tired quick. So it's one thing to be guarding and playing. It's another thing to have to go down there and take double teams like he did all game long. And I do think he got fatigued. But he recognizes it. That's what I love about JT. And then we went smaller, had to throw KO out there some at the 4, and I think he got shoved under there a little bit. And he's upset about it, and he wants to learn from it. But I was thrilled with him. I mean, I thought he came in and gave us a real lift. His scrap and his ability to actually go out there and I thought take Wenzel and make it more difficult on him during that stretch was really big, and his offensive rebounds early in the game, and then his ability to go and play in space and make that 3 at the top of the key when we'd kind of stalled out. I thought he really gave us some flow and feel, and that and one basket in the first half. He keeps getting better. He got jarred a little bit, or we would have probably gone with him longer, but that was the rebound problem, just not having the consistency of the big guys that we've had out there, and that stretch wasn't good.
Grant, I thought one of the key plays is you were up by 14. They went on a 7-0 run. go in for a lay-in, and Chance McMillan blocks it, gets it off to Elijah, and he pops the tray to get you up by 10 again. How big was that one?
Huge. And I'll tell you what it is. It's not always what people think. I mean, it's just like stay in the fight and play the defensive principles that you know. I mean, the one thing he didn't do, and Chance has done this in the past, is like swipe down. And I thought he just went up vertical and did a good job of not hacking, and he got good position on him where they couldn't call the foul. He just tried to jump into him and draw the foul, but he went straight up. There was nothing there. So really disciplined effort by Chance in that play.
I think Elijah is pretty much a catalyst for you. You ready to nominate him for the Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award for the best basketball player under 6 feet?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like his motor is what it needs to be. And what I love about him is his defensive scrap has really been tremendous. Like his on-ball pressure and his relentless approach and guarding without fouling. Got a few fouls early in the game, but I thought at the end, over the course of time, he just made it hard enough on Noah Reynolds where he just missed a few of those. But Noah Reynolds is a great player, man. That's a guy that we went into the game knowing that we were going to have to do a great job defending, and Wenzel. Both those guys are great players, and thought we were just consistent enough over the course of 40 minutes to make it difficult.
You went about a 10-minute stretch there without even a sub. I know you were going to put KO in, but then Kerwin hit that three there. Do you think that kind of – what did you see from that team out there, especially Kerwin, in that kind of stretch that made you let's just keep pushing this as long as we can?
Well, two things. One, I thought their ability to offensive rebound would be a problem. And with that lineup of Kerwin at a guard spot and then JT and Fede, you just have a lot of size out there in rebounding defensively. And then offensively, our best offense was throwing it into the post and making them double team. And then if you got Kerwin and Chance out there with whoever it is, then you can kind of play at a pace that doesn't have to go super fast, and you can kind of manage the game. And being without Darian Williams, like how quick do you want to sub, how fast do you really want to play when you maybe lack a little bit of depth. I think we could have played a little faster and got into the action quicker, but just trying to tee up what we wanted so that we could take advantage of what we were offensively. And those guys are starting to get in really good shape, and Kerwin was ready for it. That's awesome on him.
It kind of seemed like, especially in the first half, one thing Darian does is you can get it to him in the late clock and just let him try to get his nose to the rim. He didn't really have that, kind of struggled to get into the rim there. Was that kind of one of the second half adjustments, like put your nose down and try to go get a body on it?
Yeah, KO did a good job early, and that helped us. And then in the second half, when KO kind of was in there, it helped us too. I thought we just started getting to the next action. We just tried to maybe force it and stalled when they went to the switch. They were doing lots of different things. Give Coach Dixon credit. He's a great coach, so he knows what he's doing. But like they switched some stuff up, and our youth a little bit and our inexperience showed at times, just because we were trying to get to the next action, but maybe it takes us a little longer than it needs to, and I got to do it. That's what I'm saying. I got to do a better job as a coach of getting us to the next action quickly. And when we do that, and you could see it, like when you're just staring something down, it ain't going to get better. So let's get to something else. And we got plenty of good enough players to get to the next action, and that's what we finally got to. And, man, were those guys moving. I mean, Kerwin, 4 assists and no turnovers. I mean, he was getting in the paint. He was getting to the free throw line. I mean, he was doing more than just catching and shooting. He was really good defensively, and he did a great job rebounding. It's fun to see those guys celebrating him.
Sunday you weren't happy with how you closed. How do you think about the closing tonight, and do you think you're at the toughness and physicality level that you're going to need going into what's ahead for you?
Honestly, you know this. I mean, they got 14 offensive rebounds. That's not going to cut it in our league. And so the other thing that I think we've got to really improve on is when people get us close to the basket, we've fouled, and it hadn't been the right way. I mean, like, we've got to be more physical and standing our ground around the basket with those forwards. And specifically, you know, when we're in rotations and we get down there, we've got to meet them at the basket with more force. And we're going to have a great opportunity to do that on Saturday against the most physical team that's in college basketball.
You kind of touched on that lack of depth, and obviously without Darian, what does this type of win mean to you when you see that type of depth that you can have when a guy goes down?
Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means we've got great character on this team, and this is what I mean. The last home game that we played against Oklahoma State was 2 o'clock on Sunday, and we're going to play on Wednesday. And I don't know what the minutes were, but I don't think Kerwin played a ton of minutes. And I walk out of the gym, we do our deal, I come back, and Kerwin's in there working out by himself. And to do that says a lot about him, because you have to love this and you have to be a real guy that loves your teammates and cares about this opportunity, because you can easily just pack it and go like, I'll just be ready if I get the chance and not do it. But he actually does it every day. This is not something new. And to his credit, he's hung in there and accepted what I think is a difficult situation of not playing, and he stayed prepared. And so to me, that's what this team's about, is Kerwin Walton and his ability to stay in it and be ready. And our depth wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for him. You know, I mean, people can say you got a deep team, but it's not if guys don't care, that they start getting disgruntled and don't want to prepare like they need to play, because you don't know when your opportunity's going to be there. And I will tell you this, Kerwin works like he's going to play 40 minutes. And to me, that says a lot about who he is, and that's what I think is the most important part of our depth, is it's not just we've got talent, it's actually that we have character who's prepared for their moment. And Kerwin Walton's like one of the greatest examples of it I can imagine, of taking advantage of every day he gets to get better, and don't be tied to a result, and compete and take ownership to if you don't play good. And that's what allowed him to play 24 minutes and I think probably play one of his best games of the year. Awesome. Thank y'all.